Namibia, known for its endless expanses, barren lunar landscape, and priceless biodiversity. Originally known as German Southwest Africa, it was probably the most important colony of the German Empire. And the colonial legacy still plays a decisive role today. Not only in the culture, there are still many German street names, beer gardens, houses in German Art Nouveau style, and German is taught in many schools. No, the geography of Namibia was also influenced by the Germans. If we look at Namibia on the map, we notice that there is a 500-kilometer-long strip in the northeast of the country that otherwise does not really seem to fit into the shape of the country. This strip is known as the Caprivi Strip, and there is an exciting story surrounding it. So how did Namibia's unusual shape come about, and what exactly do the Germans have to do with it? We take a look at all these questions in today's video. Have fun! The foundation stone for the colonization of Southwest Africa was laid by the Bremen merchant Adolf Lutteritz. He was the first German to acquire land in the region in 1883. And he benefited from the fact that the German Empire was now showing more and more interest in colonization and therefore declared patronage over the acquired territories. Thanks to the backing of the German emperor, the territory was able to expand further and further to the north and east. Later, an imperial commissioner and a protection force were also sent to the area. Thus, by 1890, the area of Southwest Africa almost covered the territory of present-day Namibia. However, due to the strong expansion in Southwest Africa, the Germans increasingly came into competition with the British. The latter also pushed deeper and deeper into the African continent from their colony of South Africa. The British entrepreneur Cecil Rhodes became one of the leading players in the race for Africa and developed the Cape Cairo Plan. This stated that Great Britain should have a continuous territory stretching from the north of Egypt to the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa. However, this contradicted the German plans to create a land bridge between German Southwest Africa and German East Africa. There were also disputes between the two superpowers in other areas. The British had long laid claim to the island of Zanzibar, which was located off the colony of German East Africa. And it was a thorn in Germany's side that the British owned the island of Heligoland directly off the German coast. This seemed to be of extreme strategic importance for the German fleet, as it offered a central base in the North Sea from which they could blockade the port of Hamburg. And so it came to negotiations and ultimately a barter deal between the German Empire and Great Britain to create a balance of interest between the two superpowers. I have already made a detailed video about this exchange, which I will link to at the end of this video. To summarize, however, in the treaty the Germans accepted British rule over Zanzibar, and in return Germany received the island of Heligoland and access to the Zambezi, the fourth longest river in Africa. The British thus granted a small strip between their territory, which was called Bechuanaland, and the Portuguese colony of Angola. And so the Caprivi Strip was created, which now stretched from the colony of German Southwest Africa to the Zambezi and was named after the German Chancellor Caprivi, who led the treaty negotiations with the British. The acquisition of this territory appeared to be an important step towards connecting the two colonies on the west and east coast of Africa. However, the plan was quickly thwarted by the British. Just 1 year later, before the Germans had even explored the Caprivi Strip, Cecil Rhodes acquired an enormous territory for the British, which later became known as Rhodesia. This made a line of communication impossible, and the Germans' interest in the Caprivi Strip waned. The territory was only explored for the first time in 1909, and the leader of the expedition came to the conclusion that this malaria-infested Caprivi Strip should have been exchanged for something valuable. And so this region was never really colonized. In 1915, during the First World War, it fell to the South African military administration, as did the rest of German Southwest Africa. And South Africa retained sovereignty until Namibia's independence in 1990. And independent Namibia only renamed the region from Caprivi to Zambezi in 2013. So even though the German name is now also history, Namibia's geography is still determined by former colonial policy to this day. The region is now considered an important tourist hotspot, as the green tropical landscape there stands in stark contrast to the rest of Namibia, which consists mainly of desert. Numerous national parks have been created there, where you can observe a wide variety of animals.